Let's talk more about that special someone. Hey guys, welcome back to another devotional video. My name is Ryan, and if you remember, in my devotional video last Thursday, we had kind of an interesting conversation. We talked about the topic of dating. If you remember that video, I was out sitting by my fire, and I talked about a couple important things. I talked about the importance of dating for the purpose of marriage, and I also talked about the importance of dating other Christians, dating people who believe the same things as us. So if you didn't see that video, go check that out. It's called Special Someone. It's about 4 or 5 videos ago on our YouTube channel, and I think it's worth a watch. But with that being said, we're going to dive a little bit more into this topic of dating today. And I said this last week, and I'll say it again, a little bit of a disclaimer before we get started, and that's this. I am not encouraging dating, but I'm also not discouraging dating. If you were to come up to me and ask me when you should start dating or if you should be allowed to date 10 times out of 10, I will say this. I will say, ask your parents, because the truth is, your parents are the final authority in your life. They will be the ones that will tell you when you can or cannot date, and sometimes who you can or cannot date. So I default to your parents 10 times out of 10. This is just simply me having a conversation with you, whether you're dating now or you're going to be dating 10 years down the road and you won't have a relationship till then. Wherever you are on that spectrum, I think it's really important to have these conversations now. I'd much rather have these conversations now with you guys than you hear about these conversations and you hear this advice 10 years down the road when you're in the middle of a really bad relationship. So that's why we're talking about this. It's important, and I hope you guys will get something out of it. Last week, we kind of covered the who in dating, what you should look for in a person, who you should be looking for. And today I want to cover a little bit of the how part behind dating, how to date well, and most importantly, how to date in a way that honors God. If you ask a bunch of couples that are dating, couples that are engaged, couples that are just married, couples that have been married for literally years and years and years, if you ask them their advice on dating well, you'd probably get a different answer from each couple, probably a different answer from each person in the couple. And that's because relationships can be really complicated and complex. There's a lot of different moving parts in relationships, and not every couple has it figured out. And each couple would probably have a different piece of advice for you. And this can be overwhelming at times. It can make it almost seem impossible to have a great, healthy relationship just because of all the different moving pieces and factors of a relationship. I know I felt this before. I felt overwhelmed by it. I've heard so much different dating advice and relationship tips that it's overwhelming and it seems almost impossible to keep up with it all. But I want to give you guys a piece of advice today that is actually rooted in Scripture. And this is something that has been helpful to me the most in my dating experience. And I think this is important whether you're years into a relationship or you're just starting to date. And this principle, this truth comes from Proverbs chapter 11, verse 14. Proverbs 11:14, and it says this. It says, "Where there is no guidance, a people falls, but in an abundance of counselors, there is safety." Where there is no guidance, a people falls, but in an abundance of counselors, there is safety. You see this scripture here, it's actually referring to the leadership of a nation, the ruler or king of a nation, and it's pretty much saying that if that king, if that ruler has an abundance of counselors, he's going to be better off. But what's really cool about the book of Proverbs is that a lot of these scriptures apply to us personally today. So we can take this scripture here and apply it to our personal lives, more specifically, our dating and relationship lives. And This is really cool because here's the truth that I was able to pull out of this scripture that I've lived by for a while now. If we surround ourselves with people to guide us and to give us good advice, we will live God-honoring lives. More specifically, if we surround ourselves with godly, wise people to speak into our relationships and our dating, we will have really good dating lives. It's important for us in our relationships to surround ourselves with an abundance of counselors, wise people who can speak into our lives, who can be honest with us, who can say the hard things that maybe sometimes we don't want to hear. You know, we all want safe and healthy dating relationships. I don't think anybody watching this video would say that you want a bad and harmful and hurtful relationship. We all want safety and success in our relationships. And I think one of the best ways that we can do that is surrounding ourselves with wise people. That's all I have for you guys today. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you will tune in tomorrow morning. We have another CR morning podcast coming your way. I'm excited for that, so I hope you'll check it out. And I will see you guys in the next video.